All right, well, next day we got to get everything unloaded from the truck. Obviously get the car in the garage, and the big problem is I promised my wife I'd get this thing going, so that's already up on stands over here. So we're gonna be in the shit side. This side sucks because it's on the outside. This is what gets all the heat, but I might just stick the AC in that window. And it's, I mean, you can see how freaking trash this whole place is. So we're gonna try to make some room here, more room. My wife yelled at me, and apparently my kid is a goddamn nightmare getting out of the car at home, and he just wants to stay outside during the week. So she wants her garage this summer, which kind of hurts me a little with space. So we're going to do the best we can, destroy this garage a little bit more. I need a shed desperately, and get the car in here and maybe start tearing it apart today. I don't know. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna drive out to Long Island, meet up with this guy Rob, who we went last year or the year before, when we picked up this 4.8 that has bad lifters, but I got it stupid cheap, and my stepdad's LC9. So he hit me up and he's like, hey, I got another aluminum Gen 4, which my buddy Adam was doing all the research on them, and apparently all the Gen 4 blocks are the same. Most of the heads are all the same, just different compressions with the pistons. Oh, I don't care what it is, you know, if the LC9 blocks are all the same, or all the Gen 4 blocks are all the same. I'm just gonna pull it apart, check the rings, gap the rings if they need to be gapped, and stick it in the car. It's gonna be the best. God damn, everything's just a total freaking mess. It's gonna be the best move for me financially this year. I mean, everybody else is in the same boat. I don't gotta explain it. Nobody's got money right now with everything going on, and I obviously don't know what's wrong with the motor yet, but I know just to have the rotating assembly balanced last year was $400. You know, it's gonna be a whole lot cheaper to just put a stock bottom end deal in it and let it eat. You know, I'm not worried about having a stock bottom end. Dave's tuning is on point. His car, his personal car, has been 770, 180 or some crap, stock bottom end, and he did that for, shit, that motor's got 200 passes on it. So I'm not worried about having the stock bottom end in the car. Obviously I got the rod and piston motor now that keeps eating bearings. Well, I say that, and the first motor, well, the first time last year was 100% my fault. I did not have the converter spacing correct, and that was 100% my fault. Nothing, I can't blame anyone or anything for that. No. It's racing. This is what it's about, apparently. Alright, so an hour later, we're getting it apart. God, there's a lot of hoses on this car. Yeah, I gotta get the headers off. I think I'll be able to pull it with the turbos on. I'm not 100% sure, because that looks like that motor plate might be in the way of that turbo. I'm wondering if I could just clock this housing up. I'll take that one off. I mean, I still gotta undo the oil lines off them. I gotta get underneath, take the blanket off, drain the oil, disconnect the converter, unbolt the transmission, disconnect the ground and starter wires, and the limiter, So, I mean, there's still a good amount of work. If I didn't have a mid plate on it, I'd just pull this thing out in one shot. But to take the mid plate out with the motor, I gotta disconnect the steering shaft, which I don't want to do either. The joys, but at least with a mid plate, I can leave the transmission hooked up in the car, all the hoses on it, and the drive shaft in and all that. So it's give or take on good versus bad. Who knows, maybe I'll just unbolt the front motor plate once I get the hoist on it, and just take the motor plate off with the water manifold off, and then just take the motor out, and this way I don't have to take a turbo off. That might be the easier route. We'll see. Well, I'm calling that a quiz for today. I'm gonna go hang out with the family. Sweating, it's hot. I think I'm gonna put the AC right in that window. At least get a cool breeze and go from there. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna go pick up another motor. I don't know what's wrong with this, but I'm going to pick it up anyway, just in case. I pull this thing apart and it's catastrophic spun bearings. I'm just going to take the top end off of this, stick it on the stock bottom end one, and deal with this later. I'd rather have an aluminum block in the car. It cools better. It's 105 pounds lighter. Especially, you know, that would probably equal out the weight that I put into this car this year. It's a Gen 4, so I got to change a couple of things. Gen 4's got the front crank sensor, so I got to extend those wires up. And then I got to swap pins in the crank sensor. I think that's about it. Obviously, it's a different valley cover, so I'll have to get the, because that one has DOD, so I'll have to get a deleted valve cover. But I got to order head gaskets anyway, because I'm going to pull those heads. I'm going to take the lifters out of this if they're good, the cam out of this. Can you use the cam? Now I can't remember if you can use a Gen 3 cam and a Gen 4. Because of the pickup. Maybe you just need a Gen 4 cam gear? I don't know. I got to look into that. I've never looked into that, so I just don't know. That'd be nice if I could just use that cam too. I don't want to have to buy a cam. Anyway, that'll be it for today. We'll pick back up tomorrow and go from there. The only upside to tearing this car apart over and over and over and over and over again is it don't take long for me to take this whole thing apart. We're pretty much ready to yank this thing out. I have bell housing bolts to do and motor plates to do, and we can lift this thing out. And then it's on to flip this thing over on the floor and see what the hell got damaged. I pray it's not a thrust bearing. I triple checked, like I said, I triple checked all my clearances when I put it together. Unless that converter ballooned, but I feel like if the converter ballooned, the converter pressure would be high. I just don't know. I gotta ask around about that. But I went ahead and got some backup. Yeah. So that's an iron 5.3 short block that's been rebuilt. It's got some cheap pistons in it. And this is a aluminum Gen 4 5.3, both Gen 4 5.3s. It's out of an 07 Suburban. And we might be joining that stock bottom end club. I'm gonna pull that one apart. It looks like it's got a newer DOD cover on it. So I bet a lifter collapsed and they tried to stick a cover on it and pray that would work. That obviously didn't work.
Make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning. You wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again.
So it doesn't look like the converter bottomed out, because I have anti-seize on it now. So it slides in and out, doesn't get rusted. And you could see the line where it stops, and it stops, you know, 1/4 inch before bottoming out in the crank. And you could see the anti-seize all around, you know, the edge of it, so I don't think it was beating against that. Mystery continues.
Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, 'cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone. So save your judgment, 'cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change.
Alright, so the other motor is 100% torn down. It's in the bag here. It's all there. It's trashed. The mains are gone. Most of the rods are gone. All the bearings are trash. The thrust isn't beat up, but the thrust did start to spin. So I'm not going to attempt to save anything. One thing I want to check really quickly is this barbell in the back to see if that thing's in one piece, because we're trying to figure out why the hell it lost oil pressure. Here's the new bullet. The new bullet. This is a Gen 4 aluminum. I'm not exactly sure if it's an LC9 or LH6 or whatever the hell the engine code is. It said it's out of a Suburban. So we're gonna strip this down. I don't need the heads, I'm keeping them. So I'm gonna put them on that 5.3 block that I picked up. So we're gonna go on that. I'm gonna put my 862s on it. This DOD crap gotta go. The stock manifold's gotta go. The stock oil pan's gotta go. This timing cover's gotta go. I don't like that the bolt's broken here, so I'm just gonna replace it. And lifter's gotta go. Push rod's gotta go. All that crap gotta go. And we're probably gonna pop the pistons out and gap the rings. This is why I think it's a lifter issue, because this cover looks brand new. Or a cam issue. It probably needs a cam, because this cover looks new. Well, let's tear it down. We'll pick back up in about a minute when I get this thing torn down. Alright, I don't know where we last left off, but we got the whole other motor, the Iron Gen 3, torn down completely, 100%. That thing is wrapped up in bags. Everything's taken care of. There's a spare Gen 4 5.3, which will probably go in the vert. Gen 3's down there. As you can see, I have the whole new aluminum 5.3 apart, and I know everybody's like, you really like the magic out. Well, I'm glad I didn't listen, and I trusted my gut and talked to John Capizzi, and he's like, yeah, take it apart, do it. And it's a good thing I did, because there are some scoring in the crank bearings. There's a couple of scoring in the rods bearings, which is fine. The crank's fine. The rods are fine. The problem is, he said them bearings are very soft. Any little bit of dirt, that's it. So we got the block, and I'm cleaning it. And so I have a friend, Jim, and he's got an LS swapped Cobra or something, and he goes through motors like underwear. But every time he puts an aluminum motor in the car, the thing looks brand freaking new again. So I text him, I was like, hey, I got an aluminum motor this time. what's the secret? And he goes, go to the dollar store, get some totally awesome. And I'm gonna show you. I haven't touched outside here yet, but you can see it's already starting to rinse it off. Right? Well, the only reason I tore it down is because it does need cam bearings. And the tool is $80 and the machine shop is charging me $100 to install them. Let's go to the machine shop and they want it bare. Understandable, just in case anything happens. But you can see this stuff starting to rinse off all the gunk. See that? But I want to show you, I have a little scrub brush. Just cheapo wheel brushes. Alright, watch. See if it does on this one. That's nuts, huh? It's going to the machine shop this week. My cam bearings will be here tomorrow. I ordered my cam bearings, my water pump, my head studs, my valley cover, my timing cover. I gotta order bearings. I'm waiting to see if I can still get them OEM before I order aftermarket. And I don't know. I gotta go through my checklist. Oh, I need the cam sensor extension plug because I gotta extend it to the front of the motor now. But all right, I'm gonna spend some time cleaning this. Alright, so I just went and dropped the motor off, the block off at the machine shop with new cam bearings. It's obviously Friday morning before a holiday weekend. I don't know when I'm going to get it back. I pray, thank God, it's just cam bearings. I asked them to check the decks on it just to make sure they're flat. I don't know when I'm going to get it back. There was no time, I didn't ask. But I'm hoping it's sooner than later, considering it's just slamming in some cam bearings. I cleaned the cylinder heads up. That stuff works so well. I mean, look at the exhaust ports. I didn't scrub in there, I just sprayed it. We got those cleaned up. I have to clean up the pistons. I have to clean up the main caps. I have to go through this and organize. Like, this is going in the garbage, but I want to tear it apart. See if anything, I could see anything in there. Yeah, you know, I'm waiting on some more Gen 4 stuff to come in, because the Gen 4 is obviously different than the Gen 3, but you do need to change, get some stuff out of the way here, you do have to change some things, and you have to, this motor didn't come with a cam sensor, a crank sensor, so I had to get a new 58X crank sensor. New oil pump is in. You also have to extend your cam sensor, right? Because on the Gen 3 stuff, it's in the back. Gen 4, it's in the front. So Wire Specialties sells this harness. It's $20. And they're the town over, so I had it the next day. I wish they did pick up, but hey, it was $20 to go to... I think it was like $28 shipped. I'm not building that for $28. So you gotta change your crank sensor. You gotta extend your cam sensor. You need to get a new front cover. So this is a Gen 4 front cover. You see the sensor in the front of it. I just ordered a new one. They're cheap. They're, you know, my cost on it was like $50 or something. You also need to change, if it's a DOD motor, this is a back cover, you need to put a non-DOD cover on it with the O-rings, right? But I'm going to tap all the oil towers and plug them anyway, just because I don't trust those O-rings that much. You would need to get regular lifters, push rods and such for the Gen 4. You need to get new head bolts. Gen 3 uses 4 short head bolts and 16 long. You need all short head bolts. And ARP head bolts for Gen 4 are not cheap. Shout out to Scotty Wheels for getting me a set. And finding them is also not that easy, so he hooked me up. I'm going up to pay him later for those. What else? Oh, I need a new head gaskets. It's the only part I haven't ordered, honestly, because I'm broke. So next week when I get paid, I'm going to order the Brian Tooley Racing small bore LS9 gaskets. I've cleaned out almost the entire oil system. The only thing I haven't cleaned out yet are the turbos. I'm pretty happy because the filter and the clear view did its job. There was almost nothing to see past that stuff. I've cleaned out the oil cooler, I've cleaned out the filter housing, I've cleaned out the oil lines, I've cleaned out the oil feeds to the turbos. All I have to do is clean out the turbos and the drains, and then that is done. And I'm very happy that there's almost nothing to see in there. Now, like I said, I still have to clean all this crap before it goes back in. We're gonna check the gap on the upper and lower rings just to see what they're at. I don't want to put this thing together, throw 30 pounds of boost at it, and butt the rings. That would suck. So, that's that. We're going to wait for that to come back. Our next pickup will be assembling the motor, and then stabbing it in the car, and praying we can get this done in the next week and a half, because Scotty Wheels has a test session coming up the 15th at Lebanon. So I would like to go testing again, and he's actually paying for prep. So a 1/460 foot should not be a thing there ever. Oh, I mean, one of the 1/460 foots was my fault, because my little bitch foot right there lifted off the throttle. But you know, you go 8-9 months without driving a fast car, it takes you a pass or two to get back into shape. Well, anyway, that's that. I finally got me a big boy tank though. Yeah, I got a 300 and a 125 now. Well, now I'm literally at a standstill, and then we can start assembling this thing and getting it back to racing. I'm going to be interested to see what 104 pounds or whatever off the nose is going to do. You know, we'll actually have to scale this thing one of these days. Anyways, guys, get in your garage, get to work on your hot rod, and grab a cold drink. I'm drinking an ice latte today because it's hotter than hell out. Have a good day.